little bit of history, ancient history. I am not going to test you on scientists' names or dates or anything like that. But it's really hard to talk about science without mentioning some of the people that discovered things. So back long time ago, 5th century BC, 460 BC, some guys called Leucippus and Democritus first recorded the idea of atoms. Democritus suggested that if you took a piece of matter and cut it in half, and then took one half and cut it in half, and took one of the halves and cut it in half, and kept doing that, that eventually you would get to a tiny, indestructible particle. And he called those particles atomos, or atoms, which means indivisible. So his idea was that there is some smallest piece of matter. He was right. Way before the birth of Christ. Well, those ideas were not widely acceptable. You've probably not heard of Leucippus and Democritus. Have you heard of Plato and Aristotle? Yeah. Plato and Aristotle didn't agree with them. They said, no, matter is infinitely divisible. There's no smallest particles. They were wrong, and they held back science for a long time. The ideas that Leucippus and Democritus had way back, hundreds BC, were finally accepted in 1808, much later. And these show up in John Dalton's atomic theory. So it's important to be familiar with the concepts in Dalton's atomic theory. I'm not going to make you write them down word for word or anything silly like that. Each element is composed of tiny, indestructible particles called atoms. All atoms of a given element have the same mass and other properties that make them different from atoms of other elements. And all atoms combine in simple whole number ratios to form compounds. We have evidence for atoms. I showed you some pictures of atoms and of a DNA molecule earlier. Here's another picture. So scientists at IBM used their scanning tunneling microscope to move xenon atoms around and spell out IBM. These are obviously scientists with some time on their hands, apparently. So they were able to pick up and move individual atoms and spell out IBM. The cone shape is just a peculiarity of the instrument. The atoms are actually spherical.